I'll be asking you questions. Case history. Now, this was an actual patient that we had in our ICU last year. As always, this entire case presentation is just to incite a discussion. So nothing is absolute right, nothing is absolute wrong. And I'll really appreciate if you would actually get involved in the discussion. So this was a 22-year-old boy who actually on the eve of 11 December last year was driving his car at a very fast speed. And he actually had a head-on collision with another fast-moving car. And the impact of collision was so big that he was actually ejected out of the vehicle. So when we received him at around 9 p.m. on the same day, in the ER his GCS was E1M3V1. He was also having a fracture in the mandible as well as a gaping wound on his right shoulder, 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. Fortunately, there was no overt or covert gross big bleed. He was hemodynamically stable and he was producing good urine output. His pulse was 130, a blood pressure of 110 by 60. His respiratory rate was 24. Lab investigations indicated a hemoglobin of 15.8 with a TLC of around 26,000. His platelets, liver function test, renal function test were grossly normal. He was intubated and ventilated in the ER and we started supportive therapy in the form of IV fluids, etc. And if you'll appreciate this X-ray, it has a definite hemothorax on the right side. His CT scan showed moderate brain contusion with slightly increased intracranial pressure. However, there was no evidence of a gross intracranial bleed. His electrocardiogram, ultrasonogram and blood gases were nearly normal. This is the CT scan and this is the 3D reconstruction of his face which indicates a fracture in the mandible. Day 2, the gentleman is largely stable. However, there has been no significant improvement in his neurological status. We tried to shift him from control mode to support mode, but we failed. Patient does not have any fever. My first question, will you start an antibiotic in this patient? Remember, 22-year-old, previously healthy, road traffic accident, head injury, has a right-sided pneumothorax, a gaping wound on the shoulder and anterior chest wall, has a WBC count of 26,000 at admission.
Yes.
Yes. Any no's here?
No.
There is one no. Any particular reason? Okay, you're closer. I'll need 2-3 people to move around the mics, please. If you can volunteer, Manoj or Suresh, you can come. Vaibhav says no. अरे एक इधर दीजिए माइक प्लीज
ये नो बोल रहे हैं ना इसलिए नहीं दे रहे
ये नो बोल रहा है इसलिए नहीं दे रहा here.
At this point of time, I mean, I feel that antibiotic is not required. Though patient is intubated,
Right.
and we can just give tetanus toxoid and just start all the restriction measures at this point of time. Chest X-ray is absolutely clear.
He has a
Pneumothorax.
Hemothorax.
It's a hemothorax.
If you go back to this X-ray,
Hemothorax.
this is not a pneumo. If you see
It was
this,
okay.
right?
Yes, I will add something.
You'll add.
I will add something.
Anybody you would still not? Satyen says no.
So now the question changes. So this is not so if you want to use what you want to use.
No. Wait 1 minute. First say, is there anyone in this hall who says no, I will not give an antibiotic? Anybody? Badal gaye log. Jitendra says no. Why? And don't take this personally. This is a discussion only.
I can't see any faint signs of sepsis and like what is the rationale to use your antibiotic?
Yeah. What is the rationale?
I can't see a rationale.
He has an open wound and that is dirty one.
He says there is an open wound and it's a road traffic accident. Probably there is dirt there.
And there is hemothorax. Now in patient is now intubated and hemothorax is there. Patient is now intubated. There always bright chance of getting infection.
So what do you have to say on that?
Please repeat.
He says that he has a hemothorax which probably could seed an infection later And he is
That's a remote
intubated.
possibility. I have seen so many trauma patients. We don't give antibiotics on hemotherapy. There is no SS guidelines.
Pneumothorax is not an indication.
It's not an indication, but now patient is intubated.
So what? You just clean the wound locally. That's it.
So now how many knows?
So the
TLC, raise TLC count with the stress
26,000.
response.
That is not a trauma. Reactionary to the, that is reactionary.
So you say it is a no, right?
no, so I say I don't know.
Could I
I
ask?
would not prefer to start an antibiotic.
Yeah, that, it's our preference. There is no absolute truth, right? So what we would do, that's what we are discussing.
Because I don't bother much about TLC.
So we still have dissenting voice here. Anyway, assuming that you said yes, what would you give? A third generation cephalosporin, a carbapenem, a third generation cephalosporin plus metronidazole, a cephalosporin, metronidazole and a glycopeptide, carbapenem and a glycopeptide, 3GC and linezolid, a carbapenem plus linezolid, or you have some new choice of your own.
Amoxiclav is fine.
What does the antibiogram of the hospital say?
No.
But he's coming from the community, sir. अभी तो day 2 है.
But still, antibiogram of the hospital.
Okay, he says we'll follow the antibiogram of the hospital. Any other opinion? He said amoxiclav. Any particular reason? कि हम बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं देना चाहते हैं लेकिन कुछ दे देते हैं, right? I mean,
Amoxiclav is not.
usually हम कुछ की तरह देते हैं ना amoxiclav, augmentin शुरू कर दो, right? But anybody?
Option 3.
So
He says option 3, a third generation cephalosporin plus metronidazole. Option 1. They say just a third generation cephalosporin. Anybody else?
So the question comes now that if you want to use something in scare of the patient is intubated, he is going to get a hospital acquired web in 2 days and 3 days, where your augmentin and everything is not going to work.
Okay.
Because all of the ICs are there. So now the main question stays over here. You want to use an antibiotic. So as a physician, I would, because being an oncologist, I always would want to go up and then I would descale rather than starting something.
Hit hard, hit fast,
I
de-escalate.
would go for it.
Sir, your comment on this? Because जब ज़्यादा होगा, you are the judge here.
So, I guess we need to follow the guidelines for management of open wounds in road traffic accident. So it says that very thorough wash of the wound, which is not done in most of the setup, is mandatory to prevent the infection of the wound. The most important management of the open wound is thorough wash and cleaning of the wound, and then probably debridement is necrotic रहेगा तो ही करना है for all wounds, but for all lacerations, for all wounds, it is thorough washing of every wound with 2 liters, 1 liter saline, and so on and so forth. The surgeon may be more effective on how to manage this wash. The number 2 is amoxiclav is a reasonable antibiotic to be prophylaxis for such kind of wound management. Number 3 is no antibiotic for ICD management, no antibiotic as prophylaxis as the patient is on ventilator is required. Probably hospital should have better infection control policies and practices. As the infection would develop in the chest and lung, then is the case of antibiogram, and then is the case for change and escalate the antibiotic. As far as I would use amoxiclav for the management of open wound, and I would probably emphasize more thorough cleaning of the wound.
Thank you, sir. So we started on piperacillin tazobactam, metronidazole. Now for the next 3 days, the patient is.
Why metro?
Yeah, why metro? Sir, आपने metro बोला देखिए. What road traffic accident anaerobic coverage? So we did a mistake, right? As I said, there is nobody's perfect. We are here to learn from our mistakes, okay? So I'm not here to prove that I am right, sir, please. So next 3 days, the patient is afebrile, his WBC counts are somewhere around 7,000, 8,000, he is hemodynamically stable, he is producing good urine. So we think about de-escalating. So we put in, we drain out around 500 ml of sanguineous fluid from his right side. The patient has now started opening his eyes to pain, but is still drowsy. You see the X-ray that has been drained. Taking advantage of the improving situation, we ask our plastic surgeon to do his mandibular injury repair under general anesthesia. The patient comes back from the operation theatre with a nasal tube. We are able to remove his central venous catheter, and he is now tolerating spontaneous breathing trial. This is good news. So over the next 2 days, we seriously contemplate extubating this patient. Unfortunately, day 6, this patient develops a high-grade fever. His counts jump from 8,500 to 30,500. He is hemodynamically stable. His LFTs, ureas, etc. are fine. The X-ray shows an infiltrate in the left lower lung. His blood gases are going deranged. His PaO2 is coming down. PaCO2 is going up. So we plan a bronchoalveolar lavage. The lavage shows largely gram-negative bacilli with a polymorphonuclear leukocyte count of around 1350. What is this? VAP, ventilator associated pneumonia. The first gift that we give to our patients, right? Now, would you be changing an antibiotic? Let me summarize the case. 22-year-old, previously healthy, road traffic accident, head injury, right-sided pleural effusion, ICP, you remove it, you have a gaping wound on the right shoulder, which you've taken enough care of. Now this patient develops a new fever, has high counts, this patient has deranged gases and a definite patch on the left zone. And he is already on piperacillin, tazobactam and metronidazole by mistake or whatever for the last 6 days. Are we going to change the antibiotics here? Yes. Any no? Everyone agrees. वो तो होना था. But what to give? That is the question again. Meropenem. Antibiogram. चलो antibiogram नहीं है मेरे पास.
Same everywhere.
So antibiogram, we have a common antibiogram actually. He says meropenem. Anybody else who doesn't agree? And if you say meropenem, sir, why?
Taking into account Pseudomonas and Staph.
So you think it will give a coverage?
It is giving a better coverage than Pip.
Everyone agrees with meropenem? Boss? No, boss, it's not a matter of like. Anybody? Rakesh? You agree meropenem?
Definitely, if the patient is already on antibiotic and develop the features of web, so I would like to change the antibiotic, and the ball is showing the gram-negative bacilli.
Right.
So if you don't have the local antibiogram, then you have to go empirically.
Right.
So probably the next choice is carbapenem.
Okay.
So it's okay. I think.
I have another point to add.
And then we will wait for the culture.
That we will. But it is about to come, sir.
There are strains where the beta lactomes which are not sensitive, means Pipzo may not be effective because of the beta lactomes produced by the organisms. Therein, meropenem can be effective that way. So that's why my choice will be meropenem.
I bow to the majority. I started him on meropenem and linezolid. You know, one of the logics here is that we are dealing with what is termed as the late onset VAP. You know, the VAP within 2 to 3 days of admission usually has relatively, if you might call them, benign bugs. But if a VAP which comes after 6-8 days, it usually has a very resistant bug, that is your ICU bug.
Why linezolid was started?
Yeah, why not linezolid was started? ग्राम पॉजिटिव कवरेज पूरा मुझे सेफ चलना है, मेरे पेशेंट को वैप दे दिया है मैंने, मर जाएगा, तो चलो ये भी या तो टिकोप्लानिन शुरू करते हैं या लाइनेजोलेट करते हैं लोग, नहीं बैक्टीरियोस्टैटिक, हाँ, why not टिकोप्लानिन, because वो है ना, when you are not sure you do such things, right? Probably दे देते हैं यार, कवरेज ज्यादा नुकसान नहीं करेगा, right?
I don't think.
इतना महंगा नहीं है. Another thing.
It's everywhere
Yes,
in
sir.
all the hospitals actually.
But
हाँ.
on second thought, what will you consider? You consider only meropenem or meropenem lansol?
Pardon?
On second thoughts, you're saying you did a mistake with studying
You know,
so
obviously I would prefer giving only meropenem. Excellent. But this didn't actually help.
The dose is too low. Meropenem.
They said the low dose is too low.
Dose would have been higher. Fine. Meropenem.
How much?
2 grams.
2 gram 8 hourly you want to give?
No, you don't have the culture report still now.
They say the culture report is still not available, so we probably wait for the culture. चलो सर फिर culture report भी देते हैं आपको.
Sir, इतना ही desperate है तो why you can't add cholesterol?
कर दिया सर, कर दिया, कर दिया.
De-escalate.
कर दिया मालिक. Acinetobacter देखिए frankly colistin ही ऐड करना चाहिए था, because I don't think any antibiotic, any ICU worth its name in this city, you will get something else except an Acinetobacter or a Pseudomonas which will be sensitive to carbapenem. नहीं रहा, ज़माना गया, right? So we started Acinetobacter, had Acinetobacter, enough colony forming units which was resistant to everything except colistin, polymyxin. Pretty boring antibiogram, but that is the way we are getting it. And it's stupid to ask whether you will change the antibiotic. We stopped lanezolid. अभी इन्होंने कहा, मोहित ने कहा तो मैंने बंद कर दिया. And I added colistin in the usual dose and meropenem continued. Which brings me to the question as to what is the usual dose. We've just been enlightened by Jay sir. So what is the usual dose of colistin that you use?
3 MIU.
9
9 stat 4.5 in 12 hours. 9 to 12 million stat 4.5 12 hours.
So they usually, what I read was it says 32,000 to 64,000
Unit per kg.
unit per kilogram body. Right? So I think we all agree it's usually 9 MIU to start with. Some people prefer 12 MIU, but as he rightly said, it's a concentration based, so you have to give a loading dose. If you are not giving a loading dose to a patient, then you might lose the patient. So we gave 9 MIU followed by 4.5 12. We already discussed combined therapy of colistin. You don't give colistin alone. Anyone disagrees with this? Because we were just discussing the other day, and they say there are 2-3 reports where they say that giving high dose isolated colistin has almost the same effect as a combined dose. But for all practical purposes, this house agrees that you give it in combination, usually with a carbapenem, right?
And
Aerosol also.
and
I'm coming to it.
and maybe we will change the dose and the duration, because now we are adding colistin, so maybe this duration prolonged infusion along with the dose which he was talking about.
So you want to go to a 2 gram?
Might be, depending upon the scenario.
Your comments?
The prolonged
Should we be
infusion,
increasing the dose of meropenem now, since we are adding colistin to it?
if you have this MIC and everything where it might
Help.
yeah. With prolonged infusion.
Ah,
Can be used.
for all practical purposes, polymyxin
Lack of data.
B and polymyxin E, is there a significant difference? Would you choose polymyxin here, sir? Or is there any situation where with such an antibiogram you would go in for polymyxin rather than colistin when they are sensitive to both?
And so that is what the point of lecture was, that we need to understand the antibiogram. And if your hospital is having, say, 60% Acinetobacter as a tracheal aspirate, and if your patient is having VAP, do not hesitate to start colistin. The ideology or the strategies do change. 5 years back, if I would have been on this stage, I would have confirmed only with meropenem. Things have changed, resistant pattern has changed, and now for all practical purpose, for all VAP, and for most of the ICU who manage the show, colistin becomes the first empirical choice of antibiotic along with the meropenem, if at all. Now again you have to go back to the antibiogram and need to learn and understand what is your usual MIC for meropenem. But as long as it suffices, we have to use meropenem or carbapenem in prolonged infusion. In this case, if your ICU is showing more than 20-30% of carbapenem resistance of all bacteria that you aspirate from the trachea. So meropenem, colistin, loading dose, meropenem, prolonged infusion would have been the first empirical choice of antibiotic. Very vague to tell this, but as I said 5 years back, it would have been just meropenem, and after at this juncture with the Acinetobacter menas, we need to do this and wait for culture and then probably see what happens. Regarding colistin polymyxin, anything can be used. It's not bad as long as you are using the loading dose of colistin. I guess if I have just the.
But why the majority of people? Sorry, why majority of people are still using colistin as the first choice, and a lot of people.
It's just the practice.
So because we are used to doing that.
No, not because we used to doing it. Because these two molecules are available to us for almost 50 years, if I am not wrong.
And a lot of people will be agree with me कि what we are taking message from all the CME is somewhere the pharma sponsored feeding to us to promote the colistin as compared to the polymyxin. Again, the both drug is same. One is the polymyxin B and one is the polymyxin E.
I don't would probably agree with that. The pharma supported use of colistin. The colistin
Last 5 years, I attended 100 symposia on colistin sponsored by a pharmaceutical industry. Not a single symposia which is sponsored by a polymyxin B.
Correct. I'm coming to that. So it is not that way. It is how the molecule has been presented to us. So colistin was presented more often. Polymyxin B were available even today. None of the polymyxin B company fellow would come and tell you, sir, mera ek prescription likh do. But as far as the outcome is concerned, both are same. But within imipenem, meropenem, what happened? The battle was won by meropenem.
So beside
It's not the
choice is somehow guided by the pharma industry and symposia also. I just want to highlight that.
Many of the companies have both the molecules together.
But that is not on their profitability marks, no? So that's why they are not promoting it.
I guess we should ask the
Anyway,
ask ourselves.
Kishore has a microphone. Yes.